Thank you again for joining me. I'm Pat Kiernan. This is Pat's Papers. We do this every weekday morning, going through the nation's newspapers to find some of the highlights for you. Here's some of what we found for you today. It was a big day yesterday for swearing-in ceremonies. We'll start somewhat at random with the Providence Journal, a picture there of Rhode Island's first female Senate president. The Daily American in Pennsylvania has a picture of state legislator Carl Metzger taking his oath. The new congressman for Syracuse, among those on the front page of the Post-Standard in New York. I could go on, but the bigger story yesterday wasn't who was sworn in, it was who wasn't sworn in. The headline on the front page of the Chicago Tribune is Burris barred for now. Some version of this photo appears in almost every paper I looked at today. Roland Burris says his appointment to the Senate in Illinois is valid, whether Governor Rod Blagojevich is tainted by scandal or not. And some cracks are showing up among Democratic leaders in Washington. The Tribune mentioning California Senator Dianne Feinstein. She says this battle may not be worth the fight. Burris is qualified if he's turned away. She believes it could create problems for other governors in appointing senators. The Tribune publishes an op-ed from Chicago religious leader Stephen Thurston, who argues Roland Burris is perfectly qualified and says, like Blagojevich or not, the governor was exercising legal authority in making the appointment. As I said, the story very widely reported this morning, front pages of the New York Times. It's on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. USA Today has a new poll on Burris. Most Americans don't think he should be seated in the Senate. And the story is on the front page of the Washington Post. Also on the front page of the Post, Sanjay Gupta. The paper was first to report this story yesterday. It's featured prominently today. The TV doctor for CNN is likely to become Surgeon General under Barack Obama. The Post story says this signals that the administration values advisors who can drive a public message. He does have legitimate medical credentials, though he is best known for his TV work. So it is with this notion that a 39-year-old doctor best known for TV could be in such a prominent role, that the Post Style section has some fun on this topic, suggesting other TV people who could become part of the Obama administration. Tim Gunn would become Interior Secretary. Lou Dobbs could take on Homeland Security. Kelly Ripa would be an ideal Energy Department leader. And there'd be a new department created called the Department of Oprah. Gupta's home base right now is CNN in Atlanta. The Journal-Constitution interviews some of Georgia's healthcare professionals who are hopeful that their hometown boy will be able to improve the fortunes of financially strapped public hospitals. You know, I can't seem to get away from talking about the Senate today. I did want to update Minnesota. The St. Paul Pioneer Press says, brace yourselves, it'll be months into 2009 before Minnesota sees the end of its 2008 U.S. Senate election. Defeated incumbent Norm Coleman launched his legal challenge to the final result in favor of Democrat Al Franken. All of today's discussion about a ceasefire in Gaza happened after the papers went to press. So many of the headlines about yesterday's events focus on the Israeli attack at a school, that school where Hamas terrorists had been hiding out to fire mortars. The story's on the front page of the Miami Herald. New York Post coverage very critical of Hamas, calling it a human shield atrocity to use children as cover. Other overseas stories, as reported in the New York Times today, the headline on the left side of the front page is Russia cuts gas, Europe shivers. This is a long-standing feud between Russia and Ukraine over natural gas, but the effects are being felt throughout Europe because there isn't enough gas in the region to meet heating demand. The Times says each side blames the other. The atheists are fighting back in London. On page A6 of the Times, the story of a woman who objected to a message from a religious group that suggested she would be going to hell. So she decided to fight back with advertisements of her own. So many people supported her cause that she's been able to buy 800 bus ads. These ads say, there's probably no God. Now stop worrying and enjoy your life. A picture from my homeland on the front page of the business section of the New York Times, looking at the balance between environment and energy independence as it relates to the oil sands in Alberta, Canada. For all the talk about the Middle East, there are a lot of people who don't realize that Canada is the largest oil supplier to the United States. The Apple iTunes story in all of the papers, but I thought the Times did the best job of capturing the important points on this one. Apple will drop the copy protection from iTunes Music, but the company's also changing the pricing for the online music service. Instead of the flat rate of 99 cents a song, it's now 69 cents for older tracks and as much as $1.29 for a popular new track. The San Francisco Chronicle plays up another aspect of the Apple Macworld convention announcements. The company unveiled a supercharged MacBook computer. It'll run for 8 hours on a single battery charge. The Cleveland Plain Dealer reports this morning that the IRS is planning to be nice in a tough economy. The IRS commissioner says tax collectors have been instructed to do more to help people who need some flexibility in paying their back taxes, and you will be able to file online at no charge this year. The prize for most embarrassing moment goes to the man on page 3 of the New York Post today. Somehow he fell off a chairlift at Vail. This was a few days ago, the photo just emerging now. He was saved from a fall by his ski pants. Well, sort of saved. The pants prevented him from falling, but the pants were pulled down to his ankles in the process. While he waited for the ski patrol, he was hanging mostly naked for all at the ski resort to see. We're not going to have to tear the building down, but a planned 49-story MGM condo tower in Vegas may end up being half that tall. The Las Vegas Sun says serious structural issues have been discovered, and the best way to fix the problem might be just to limit the height of the tower. Finally, this story appears in hundreds of papers today, though my vote for clever headline is Tetris from now on, as written in the Kansas City Star. The story is from Virginia. A 6-year-old misses his school bus, so he grabs his parents' keys and drives himself to school. At least tried to. He made it 6 miles down the road before he crashed. He crashed while trying to pass some slow-moving traffic. The 6-year-old says he learned to drive by playing Monster Truck Jam on his video games. And that's a look at just some of what's in the newspapers across the country this morning. I'm Pat Kiernan. We do this every weekday. patspapers.com for a complete list of all the newspapers and the links to the individual stories we featured today.